Hello and welcome to your Peachtree Accounting 2012 tutorial, and this is the part 2 of setting up a company from scratch. And in the previous tutorial I've created a company called Test Company, and that company closely matched the company that I want to use, which is a manufacturing company. In your case, you should create one that's similar or closely matches your current existing company, whether it's a distributor or a restaurant company or a bakery company or something like that. So in this case, let's open up the test company and take a look at what it looks like without any data currently. So open your Peachtree and you will see this should pop out automatically. If it's not showing here, it would show this open an existing company. And this is the list of company that I might have opened with this installation. Pick the right company that you've just recently created and then either double click it or click once and click OK. And then this one shows that I don't have users on it except the admin, and there's no password required here because it's grayed out. So I'm just going to click OK, and this will take me to this window here. So this is basically the home page of your Peachtree accounting, or the home window. And this will show I don't have anything on it. So I have no revenue or account balances or vendors information, etc. So the reason is because we haven't really built our database or our accounting information with this test company. And right now, the only thing that we have here is the banking, which is your ledger or the chart of accounts. I'm just going to view this real quickly. So this chart of accounts is automatically created for you once you've created it the way we've created our company, by selecting a company that closely relates to the one that you actually operate. So in this case, it's a manufacturing company. Um, this shows you that there's an account number, there's a description of what that is, and the type of account it is. There's the cash, receivables, liabilities. I'm sure you guys are familiar with what these are. Income, cost of sales, expenses. Now, if you have an account that you want added in here because it's not here, what you're going to do is click new and then create the account here. Fill out as much as you can. And then once you're finished, you save it if you only have one, and then save a new if you have more than one. Now, if there's an account here that you don't want, for example, you can either delete it or you can inactive it. So inactive just means that it's there, you can use it in the future, but for the time being, you're just making it inactive because you're currently not using it. Once you've entered transaction into this Peachtree and you have put in numbers here, you won't be able to delete that. So make sure that you are kind of decided which accounts you'll be using and which accounts you won't be using. But you can inactive it if you have entries in there but you don't want to use it in the future. You can make it inactive so you don't see them anymore. Okay, and then you just save it. Now, for the rest of this, like what I said, there's no data on here. So what do you do next? Well, first thing is you have to have all the data that you want to be entered in Peachtree. That means your beginning balances, your current banking information, all your current receivables, all your current bills that needs to be paid, and all sorts of stuff. All data, all numbers, gather as much as you can. You have to have the correct beginning balances because it'll be difficult for you to change it once you've put in new transaction after you built the database. Okay, I'll explain that to you in the future, but as far as we're concerned, you need to have all the data you need to build these. Otherwise, don't put any transaction when you're not finished with building your beginning balances and all your numbers. So what do you do next? You want to go to File and you want to click on Setup Guide. The setup guide is sort of a wizard. So what that is they'll kind of give you an idea how to build your database. So let's start with, for example, customer. You want to go from top to bottom. You start with customer, then jobs, then vendors, then inventory and services, employees, and so on. So for the time being, let's go ahead and look at what this thing looks like once you click it. So customers. And here, I'm not sure if you can see it from my video, but in this customers, you will see this white window here. This has kind of a title, what goes next after the other. So right now it says introduction. It's highlighted in orange. The next thing here is called customers. Then there's beginning balances. Then there's defaults. There's sales tax. There's statements and invoices defaults, and then it finish. So this is your guidelines. What do you need to have for customers? You've got to decide that, and you have to have the numbers. So right now I want to add a customer. So yes, I want to end. So it defines here what a customer means. And what do you do next? Would you like to enter customer now? And you said, yes, I want to enter customer now. Then click next. And then you can add customer by clicking here. And then fill out as much as you can. This is the time when you have to figure out what would be your numbering system. And that I can explain to you in glorious detail, but right now we're not going to do that. So fill out as much as you can, and then click save if you only need to enter one customer, or save and new if you enter more than one customer. And then close this one. After you enter customer, you're going to go to next, the beginning balances of the customer. Or actually, once you add a customer, it actually requires you to add beginning balances right here, customer beginning balance. So you have to set up a customer information here, and then put your current beginning balances. But I'll show you that to you later in the future, how you're gonna add beginning balances for customers. And I'll just click that for now. And then you want to click next, the defaults of the customer. What's your payment terms? What's the credit information? What's the aging information? Then click next, and then the sales tax information, and then you'd want to do the statement and invoices defaults, and then you click finish afterwards. And then we'll what do you have to do next? Because it's a wizard, so they kind of just you just follow through them. So we're gonna do the job setup. And then I'll define it again, and then there's procedure what to do next after you set up everything. And then what do you want to do now? Do you want to enter vendors? So if you've noticed that it really made it easier for you guys. So, but there's a lot of typing that you have to do. Aside from the fact that you need all the data for customers and vendors and jobs and everything else, you need to type in and make sure that you type in and write the first time around. You can make some changes, but you'd rather have it correct so that you don't have to go back and forth. And once you're finished with this, you can just close it. And you're gonna update and refresh everything. So essentially, if you're beginning at the end of the beginning of the year, for example, you're starting your accounting software for 2012 or 2014, you want to use your accounting software in January 1st, so that there's not a lot of beginning balances. You can transfer all the money that you haven't received, all the bills that you haven't paid. You can also transfer the current beginning balances of your capital or equity, or other things. But at least as for accounting purposes, it's easier for you to generate the general ledgers, and so it'll be easier for you to kind of look at what's your revenue for the whole year, and things like that. So it's very complicated, and it'll take you a lot of time. And but the most important thing that you have to remember is you need to have to get the correct beginning balances and have Peachtree information correct before you start entering transaction. Otherwise, the beginning balances would be really difficult to edit once you've started changing, once you've started entering transactions. So we'll take a look at customers and sales, vendors and purchases, and how to add or change those in our next tutorial. Hopefully you learned something, and if you have additional question, please email me at support@isonetworks.com. Thank you.